Hi, good afternoon. If you're into selling, sales, you actually do something, maybe pick up the phone, call somebody, sell something. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong camera. If you're into selling, focus. I'm here, focus. If you're into selling, I've got one of the gurus, Steve Nudelberg, Confessions of a Serial Salesperson. And by the way, if you don't have the energy, you're not feeling quite right, it's probably because your health, your fitness, your mental mindset's not right. I got Dana Cavalea, Habits of a
Champion.
I helped them with this book. I can't remember the name. It's a road book.
And it's a great book.
Anyway, there's a reason why I'm probably still alive today. If there was one, besides some of the obvious ones, it would probably be my man Dana here, who's been a tremendous help in my health, fitness, everything. Because I was a train wreck about 6-7 years ago. Now I'm just a wreck, but not a train wreck. Anyway, love to hear your biggest problem you're facing today. So we're going to do some answering your questions. What's your biggest problem? What's your biggest thing that's holding you back from doing something great today? It's a participation sport here. You got to actually participate. So let me hear from you. You got a sales issue. You've got something that's bothering you. What's stopping you from doing something extraordinary, great today? I was just having a conversation. Later on, we're going to show you a great invention that I think every stadium, every ballpark probably needs. God forbid they actually make it easier for the fans, who Lord knows we're clumsy enough as it is. I'm going to show you this really cool invention that's going to make everything kind of compact and easy. So stay right there. We're going to get right into a real serial entrepreneurial situation.
Boom.
Where somebody's kind of right at the beginning phases. First of all, thanks for joining. We're just hanging out having a meeting. We said, you know something? Let's share this wisdom, go live.
Well, you're dropping amazing information. Your new book, and as I told you this morning,
thank you.
It was an unexpected pleasure. I mean, obviously, people are writing books for all different kinds of reasons, but where you are in your life and what you put together is such a tremendous read and so important and so needed. I laughed out loud. The stories, the quotes. I mean, it's a really awesome. And I think, there's lots of people who talk about Simon Sinek and the whole why. You kind of couple all of the conversations together with purpose, and it's.
I think my problem with some of those conversations, I think Simon Sinek's a genius in a lot of ways, but it's about do this, do that. I'm like about here's what I did, here's how to do it, not just do it, but here's how you do it. And you talk a lot about here's how you do it in your sales book, not just go out and throw 1,000 emails out there, hope one person responds, but here's the best emails that I've written, or here's some of the best strategies that I've gotten people going on.
I think, and this ties us all together. The most successful people in life have a process, and so when you look at Dana takes care of the mind and the body, which I don't care what business you're in. If you have, shitty thinking and shitty body, you're going to get shitty results. So
here's my thing I'm going to propose to you. Tell me 2 things, because let's get into action, doing. That's kind of what we got going with Bonnie. Like, let's do something. Give me 2 things that two most important things that someone could do today to be more effective, to be more efficient, to advance. 2 things.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
So, based on what you guys are saying, in order to sell, in order to be an entrepreneur, in order to be great at anything, what do you need, right? You need energy. So what takes away your energy and what creates your energy? Usually, when it comes from a dietary standpoint, sugar and starchy carbohydrates take your energy away.
How?
Well, hold on. And then what adds your energy, right? The exercise, the sweating. Nobody works out and feels bad after they did it.
Nobody.
Right? You feel good about yourself. You feel empowered. You feel confident. So if we could get the negative energy drain, which is the starches and the sugars, out, and again, let's say out 5 days a week, right? Monday to Friday. And then we can add our exercise, which is our energy generator. That right there is a winning process, and it's very simple. And that's it. So we look at the why is because of the spiking. You take in sugar, you spike, and you crash hard. And now you're looking for more sugar to spike again. And that inconsistency takes away from what our goal is as salespeople, as entrepreneurs, as business people, is consistency in business. So we got to power what we want by making good choices and having a strong but simple process.
True with young people too, because a lot of young people watching, you're in college or just a few years out of college. I notice a lot of people watching with those problems. What's your advice to them?
I say no matter where you're at in your life, energy wins, right? So if you're a young, hungry, ambitious person, or you're a slow, sluggish, tired slob, who's going to win when you go to sit in that interview? Or you go to pitch your idea, your product,
it's how you
or
show
whatever.
up. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You are 1,000% correct. It is all about how you show up.
Yeah.
Two things, Steve.
So the first thing would be, and I ask this question often, are you an investor? And when people hear that, they always think about money. I think about, what are you investing in yourself? What, the coaching profession, which I do with CEOs and entrepreneurs, as do you, I invest in having somebody push me to a place I couldn't get on my own. So, we talked about it before. I like that discipline. I like that process. I like that guidance, and you do it as well as anybody I've ever met. So what are you investing in books? What are you investing in videos, in conferences, and just the entire methodology about, you have one thing you got to take care of. It's your mind and body, and you got to take care of it. So that for sure. And then really where I see most people go wrong is the words that they use. Changing the, I'm trying to do that. And I say, bullshit, you're not trying. You're either doing or you're not doing, So removing those kind of words, the way people talk to themselves is generally way worse than they would ever allow anybody else to do it. So if you tape that track and you play it, you go, I can't believe that guy's talking to me that way. Well, that's you. That's your brain, telling you, and fear and doubt is all wrapped up in that. And so if you change the way you speak to yourself and you use different words, in my book I talk about the 3 best words in sales, and anybody can walk out of the room and use those words and get immediate results. It's not theory.
What's the 3
3 best words. Change the words about meeting and appointments to visit. When I called you up, I said, hey, I'm going to be in New York. Let's visit. I don't want to come for an appointment. You go to a doctor for the appointment. I don't need that, And then knowing that I'm not a fit for everybody, which is just the nature of sales. We talk about baseball players that hit 3 out of every 10 times and they're Hall of Famers. Salespeople, the same thing. If I hit 3 out of every 10 things I get involved in, I'm Hall of Fame, rock star, living the dream. So understanding that I'm not a fit and sharing that up front. So Brandon, I want to come visit with you, and the purpose for my visit is I want to figure out if we're a fit. It's okay if we're not a fit, but if we are, then I'll be able to deliver the 3rd word, which is value, the same way I do to 3 pieces of socially credible names. Enterprise, Toshiba, the Miami Dolphins, whoever the companies that I'm working with and things that I do, other entrepreneurs, it's all about those 3 words. I want to visit with you. What happens at a visit? Do you bring brochures to a visit? No. Hey, you just get to know people. And clearly in the world we live in, if I don't like you, we're not doing business. I don't care what you're selling.
And if I'm not comfortable with you.
Correct.
And people decide whether they like you or not a lot more quicker than you think.
3 seconds.
And sometimes, with men, it's a little longer. Women are making that decision less than 10 seconds.
And their radar and their discernment is usually spot on.
We know how important women. We don't understand how important women's view on anything is.
What a guy like Dana does that's so important is that from the onset, he creates you feel better. When you do what you said is so spot on, because when you exercise, you're sending all the endorphins. When you feel better, you perceive better. People receive
by the
you.
way, the last time we had Dana on was a record number of comments. So it's obviously a hot button.
He's right.
Because
and he breaks it down.
I don't think you get to do what you're talking about, or a lot of times what I'm talking about, unless the nucleus, like the foundation, is better.
And look at the athletes he's had the chance to work with. So we're not talking about a guy who does this as a hobby. This is the real serious understanding what the best of the best do, and then sharing that with people, which is why your book is so great.
Question for us, please feel free. Sales question, fitness question, faith question. How great was it, Mariano, getting the unanimous? How great was that?
I asked. That's the first thing I asked when I walked in.
How great was it? That a whole bunch of people have unanimously got this. When was the last time anybody all agreed on something?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Right? We can't even decide. Even in kindergarten class, there's always one kid that was like, I don't know, creating a story.
It is pretty special. I mean,
it is special.
From somebody watching from the outside to have a guy
and
like him.
You know from experience.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're talking about a guy that's the epitome of routine, process, but most importantly, simplicity. Mo was not a very he's complicated, but he's not complicated. His routine and his process is very simple. Those of us that know him, a little more, intimately, we know that he could be a little quirky, but for the most part,
he's a pain in the ass.
translation.
Listen, I think everybody
a good pain
is.
in the ass.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but the best pain in the ass you can ask.
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
Right? This is funny, and he's relentless.
Yep, exactly.
Right?
And
But consistent.
But you'll find the best salespeople are the biggest pain in the ass. They're quirky. They are, but that's what makes them who they are. That makeup, and then understanding how to deal with defeat.
I got some really good advice from A-Rod about 2 years ago. And he said something to me. He said, in life you have two choices, right? You can go wide and shallow, or you can go narrow and deep. And again, when I start to look at these high performers, whether it be in business or whether it be in sports,
there's a bomb.
You're waiting and sitting there waiting to see some like unbelievable technique that they have. And it never comes because they're just really good at simple things, and they just continue. The depth comes from the consistency.
Right.
With the more consistent you are, the deeper you go. And that's the whole idea. How deep can you get through consistency, not necessarily looking for something else to add to your
Everybody's
plate.
looking for the next thing.
The next thing may
Correct.
be the thing that costs you, though, right? Not that helps you.
And you find that even in sales training and stuff like that. It's not a
Did you get that
fad.
out of therapy, or did you get that out of?
Well, I coach people for a living. That's what I do. I'm a professional coach.
That is just so spot on, though. The next thing could cost you, may not be a help to you.
Yeah. So keeping it simple and actually having some free time and space and quiet is a good thing.
That's amazing.
We oftentimes try to fill that space and with new things, but
The parallels with what we do are there layer by layer by layer,
Yeah.
because it
Do we
is
have a-
all
Do we
processed.
have a copy of Dana's book by chance somewhere? I mean, I've seen. A man went in his pocket to grab a book. His pants would crack. But I mean, you can't find this book anywhere. I mean, it's unbelievable.
it's on Amazon. Come on.
We got to give away. Can you put up a picture of this book? Honestly, if you're out there, you don't have this book, you're foolish, because this is a game changer book. I mean, love my book, but love his book. I mean, I'd rather see you get his book.
I tell you
because
what, anybody who buys your book, I'm giving them a book. Anybody
Really?
who buys your book right now, I'm giving them mine right on
The
top.
problem with his book is that it may actually help you, and it's so simple that
It'll scare you.
yeah, it may not be.
Really?
It may
Right.
not
No,
be for you.
simplicity.
Right, yeah.
Simplicity scares people.
So
Right?
when I read your book, the thing I says, I just cannot believe how simple this is, and that's what. It's just such a great reminder of so many things, and then a couple of things pop up that you hadn't really thought about. But did you like? I mean, it's funny. I went and spoke to my daughter's fourth grade class. This is years ago, and the teacher called me back. She's like, "I got a real problem. You're gonna need to come back." I'm like, "What?" I've never had this. All the parents have come and spoken to my kids' classes. These kids will not stop till you come back. Have you ever taught fourth grade before? I'm like, I teach fourth grade every day. Every
Welcome
meeting.
to the business world,
Yeah,
right?
and you know something? It's something I felt. I mean, it was my daughter was thoroughly embarrassed to have me have to go back to her class again. But at the end of the day, there is an art to keeping it, simple.
Yeah.
You're saying, and keep
I
it
think-
big. And that's your book.
Yeah, well, I think, I've been a student of the game. I've been in sales for 40 years. I see lots of training programs that are so full of theory and buzzwords, and people get lost. They get out of the training. They go, what do I do? Okay. And I think all training is good. I think you should input and sort of sift through it, filter through it to see what resonates with you. My book is 27 Rules for Leaders and Influencers. If you follow this roadmap, you will have success. It works. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do mine or you have to do 27. My first rule is you got to wake up early. Everybody I have ever met with that is successful wakes up early. Now, what early is to you can be different. I'm not telling you what time. I know for me, it's super early, as the people that know me.
Hold on. If you're waking up at 10, 11 in the morning,
Something's
you're a
wrong.
loser.
Right.
I'm just telling you right now, click off now. Don't really have that much of an interest. Unless you go to bed at like 4 in the morning, which is another case.
There's
of
another
you being-
If you're in the music business,
But
maybe
at the end of the day, waking up early is waking up early.
Period. It's universal.
And then the other bullshit is like, well, at the weekend I sleep in. Like, why? Why are you sleeping in then? Wake up the same time. Go to sleep around the same time.
Do you think about your business on the weekend?
Not as much as you would think. but
Okay.
I go through periods.
I
of
do.
it.
I don't let go of the wheel. I do a little bit of work.
I try to take one day where I'm really trying to let that go and just try to think about some other stuff and let it go. I try, and then that's
And
not
that's
always-
what getting
that's
out
not
of
always
this.
been that's not always been the case. But I really try to have one day where I'm really not emailing, not doing much, keeping an eye on things, but just one eye, not both.
I like the fact that people are always saying to me, "I just don't have time." And, you know, right? It's standard. I really like using LinkedIn. I see it, but I don't have time. And time is really, you know, there's 86,400 seconds in every day. Nobody's getting more, nobody's getting less. And so the reality is it's all about choices.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to be accountable for the choices you make, which is why I wake up early, I have more time on the clock.
Yeah. And better
You're a basketball
time.
coach. If
Better
you don't
quality.
manage the clock right, you lose.
Football too, the last 2 minutes especially.
Got to manage the clock.
The other thing is, thank God it's Friday. That's another thing. Like
I used to tell people to go home.
Like, yeah.
Get out.
You know,
You already gave up.
If you can't wait till Friday, you probably the whole week's a bust for you.
Right.
Like I hate that.
Right, you're not
thank
it
God
takes me
it's
till
Friday.
noon on Monday to get into it, right? Then Friday I'm already, you know, thinking about happy hour. You know, I'm off on the weekend.
One thing I'll tell you though, Steve, and you tell me if this is true, but I have to go spend some time on Sunday, some point, to make sure my week is orchestrated the way I thought it was going to be orchestrated when I
Correct.
left on. And I'm constantly looking ahead, looking back.
Review
Where
and
did I
preview,
screw
right?
up? And where did there's just no shot clock. I mean, I could work. My hardest day could be on a Saturday or Sunday, but I try to have one day of rest of some sort where I'm kind of just trying to get everything kind of, you know, downgraded. And I got that advice from you.
Yeah, I
You gotta
think
take
so.
one day of some kind of rest.
You got to unplug, and then like what I do is I take a little time Sunday night, and I forecast my week, right? I take 15, 20 minutes, and I call them power plays and assists. What are the 3 main objectives that I need to get done this week?
Awesome.
And then what are the 3 assists that if I get them done, that's a huge week. But I got to get through the 3 power plays first before I touch my assists.
I love that.
And when I get that
Yeah,
done,
that works.
you know, think about knocking down 3 big plays a week. That's 12 a month. Compound that over 12. That's a winning year. So too many people are like, God, what's my New Year's resolution? And it's like, well,
you're thinking
win the
this
week.
way.
Win the day, win the week.
Let me give you one bit of advice that most of you won't take, but just, I mean, that's all. I'm not offended. Go get his blog. Yeah, kick your ass every morning or every other morning. Give you some insight. I assume you already have Steve's, but it seems like he's got everybody on the planet on his blog.
Especially if you're on LinkedIn.
You may want to get his blog because
You may remember me from
it'll be the
LinkedIn.
wake-up call. And the excuse that you don't have time to get fit, you don't have time to eat right, is a really, really lame excuse. So stop telling yourself that. It just ain't true. Everybody's got a story, but that one is not acceptable. Make the time. Get up a little earlier. Even when I have an early flight, 7 a.m. flight, I get up at 4 in the morning, get my workout in. So, you know, it's all according to the choices you make, as you were saying.
I think what you're doing, though, too, Brandon, that's different than a lot of people, is you've created, I call it an association. By working out, I get closer to this. And whatever this may be. Hey, for some people, I have guys that are in their 60s that say, I just want to be alive longer with my grandkids. I want to see them go to college.
That's a pretty
That's
worthy
a positive
cause,
association,
yes.
right? You know, for others, it may, hey, I want to see my kid get a big head coaching job someday, right? Whatever it may be.
Young Nudelberg.
But whatever it is, you got to
You see the
associate it.
transformation. You used to come to my gym and be like, all right, what's bothering you now?
Yeah, now we're not
God.
solving as many problems as much as it is their check-ins, their maintenance points,
Yeah.
and then talking about how can we get, you know, marginally better each month, each year. You know,
I think the real validation is, like, nobody I know really loves, like, getting up and working out. There's, you know,
Yeah.
I happen to enjoy it when I'm there, but there's times where I'm like, well, you know, I could roll over here and
This
not.
morning.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to work out this morning. I'm like, no, Brandon.
But that's
I'm
when you
sorry.
get
You
the
don't
best
get a vote.
workout.
The little Brandon in me was like saying, you don't need to work out. Steve's coming up today. Dana's coming up today. You got a busy day. And I'm like, no, little Brandon, you're not getting a vote in this.
Little
Your
Brandon.
voting rights have been revoked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you need to get your ass down to the gym and work out right now and get that cardio in. And that was
And
the
look
end
how
of
much
that.
better you feel.
The best advice I ever got in terms of, you know, anything in life, right? You think about how you feel when you're done. So there's so many things in life that give us pleasure while we're doing it. They're not always the things that yield.
They're usually the worst.
They're usually the worst things, right? But at the same time, think about when you don't want to train, when you don't want to work out, if you eat like crap, think about how am I going to feel when I'm done? And usually you'll make that association. When I work out, I feel great. Yeah.
It all works together. You know, sales
Yeah.
teams that are excited that it's Taco Tuesday are just not putting in the right stuff. You know,
Yeah.
when you work out, you tend to eat better because you want to fulfill that. So
Training Tuesday would
Right,
maybe be a little bit
right.
better
So all
of
of a
a.
sudden, all these pieces of the puzzle work together. I'm going to take care of my mind and body. I'm going to feed it with the good words. I'm going to feed it with the right exercise, and the results are I've never seen anybody that works out that doesn't walk around going, "Wow, man!" You know, when people walk, "Hey, man, you look good." I haven't seen you in a while. First thing I said to you, I said, damn, brother, you look good.
Yeah, you get your confidence is
Yeah,
up.
it's like you're starting off right.
It's just amazing. I mean, I just think back where I was like 12 years ago. Actually, well, it's more than that. About 12 years ago. I walked in your gym and you're leaning. You don't look right. I don't know if right now I wouldn't work out right now. We just got to see if we could stabilize
Wow.
you.
Yeah,
I went home. I was so bummed, but I looked in that mirror. Believe me.
You told him that, or was that a different
No, but you know what? For some people, the best starting point for a lot of people is
The truth.
the truth,
Right.
followed by
That's
for
true.
some guys, I literally put them on a table and we stretch and talk for the first 3 to 6 months just to get them to get comfortable with, bettering their body.
And stretching's not easy.
It's not.
I mean, when I stretch at the end of my workout, it's
Yeah.
hard, man.
But
I was locked up.
yeah,
I was just a
most
mess,
people are.
yeah.
Most people over 40, this is what they do all day,
Yeah.
and then they're dehydrated, so their tissue gets all like beef jerky and not like a
Oof.
fillet.
Yeah, you must see a lot.
And
Oof.
so it gets messy.
We got to run Bonnie in.
Cool.
We're gonna get into this. Unbelievable. Losing Dana. Follow his blog.
You're the man.
Book.
See ya.
So good to
It's
see you,
a
brother.
no-brainer. Good to see you, my friend.
Bonnie.
He was like a special guest, and I had to slip him in because anytime I get him up here, it's a blessing because you really, really, you know how much I really believe in getting fit and getting healthy. Bonnie, entrepreneur 101. Nice to see you.
Nice to see
we
you.
needed somebody to brighten the set,
And
too.
Bonnie's been
let's
following
face
this
it.
platform and everything else.
What an honor to
Thank
be
you.
here.
Thank you
for
coming on.
having me.
And Steve, you're a guru.
Who
And
doesn't
you-
know Steve?
And it's funny, people come to me with all different ideas, but I'm like the sports guy, so they think I've got the answer, but this is a pretty smart idea. Tell me
Thank you.
how you came up with this idea. Now you gotta, so the idea is you got this cup, and you're all like, now you go, no, we got this, boom.
Yep, we replace every food service and souvenir cup
What's the name
lid.
of the company?
GoLidz. And it's GoLidz on the website. And it's convenience for the fans, it's convenience for the guests. I think any brand, I think we all know, any brand experience out there. I mean, how do you create a memorable experience?
How long have
When
you been
they-
doing this?
6.5 years.
By the way, we're honest on this
Just happened
program.
yesterday.
Everything right.
Oh, no,
It's
yeah,
all
we
part of the
just-
journey.
We just popped up with this yesterday.
So you've been in this for a while.
6.5 years, and
Would you say you put a good amount of your time, money, and energy into this thing for the last 6-7 years?
yes,
Fighting the good fight?
yeah. You can't do it any other way.
And every
Sheer
entrepreneur,
perseverance.
that's part of the price to get in the game.
It is.
Nobody jumped on the planet and hit
No.
huge success
it's
right away.
the potion you drink,
Right.
and it's the potion you sell to get other people engaged.
But it's your
and
passion
on
to
board
stick
to
through
believe
it.
in what you believe in.
That's exactly right.
You can't do it any other
So
way.
here's the future when I go to the ballpark, rather than trying to carry all this, is throw the couple hot dogs in there, I got my beer, boom.
Yeah, it's an upsell for them, which is great, but it's fantastic for the fans, and so it's kind of a win-win. You have the ballpark, the QSR, the drive-through.
What's been your biggest problem with this? What's been the biggest adversity that you've faced?
What is the biggest adversity? Well,
Want me to tell them?
Steve?
You know
Steve,
what?
you want to jump in here?
In the world we live in, you could have the cure to something if you don't get it to the right people, which is a sales and marketing challenge. Bonnie and I met through LinkedIn, which is awesome.
You a fan of LinkedIn?
You think?
I love LinkedIn. If you're not following me on LinkedIn, then,
Right.
obviously, listen, you're probably not following much because...
I mean, one of the things you talked about was old school and new school.
I mean, it's a
this is
no-brainer.
the fusion of old school networking with no
out of
geographical
nowhere,
boundary.
she links in with you? I mean, how's that?
So she was following some of my posts, some of the stuff I'm putting out there. If somebody she knows likes it, it shows up in her feed.
and we post, GoLidz. How much do we
Right.
post?
They're,
we
they're
post
telling the
videos
story.
every day, every night. We're constantly telling a different story, but the same story. But
And
you have
so
to stay
she-
in front of your
She
audience.
jumped into mine, liked a few things, and I went to her page, looked at what she was doing. I love the product. I see the innovation. Early adoption is always hard, no matter what business you're in. You got to get a couple of lumps. You got to, so we had a conversation about the history of the company, about some of the challenges, and I said, and she'll tell you, I can help. And in the month of January, I've helped. We're sitting here with you.
You guys just met a month ago.
A month of January.
Yeah. LinkedIn.
We met in December.
I love
We
LinkedIn.
spoke
You
January
gotta love
2nd.
LinkedIn, man.
That's the power of LinkedIn.
And here's the real power of LinkedIn. And I know this will freak people, I'll freak your audience out. Some salespeople lie.
No.
Get your arms around that one. So, here I come in and I said I can help, and we didn't even talk about what it would look like if I helped. I just helped. I believe in sampling. I believe, hey, listen, she goes, you don't want me to sign anything or do anything? I said, no, I'm just going to do it. Once I've done it, then we'll talk about how it plays out and how we grow this company. And so it's been an awesome couple of weeks because we are aggressively putting this in front of people who can make a decision. Yes or no, it's fine. No's get you closer to the yeses. But when you look at the categories that this can play a role in, if you go to the movies and you buy big popcorn, how do you carry all the candy and the other stuff? There's one. Stadiums is one. Drive-in is another. I was fortunate to be with my friend who owns 30 McDonald's. Instantly, you can help me sell more Big Macs. Boom, I'm going to put 2 Big Macs and fries in there on top of a fountain
2
drink.
Big Macs and fries is not a long-term plan, because that person will be dead.
Well, you know what? So on my podcast, he said to me, he goes, Nudelberg, I'm taking you to lunch. He goes, they started serving fresh ground beef. So you go in there now. They actually, not frozen. They actually
love
make
a Big Mac. I'm not going to lie right now.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like
But
it.
the beauty of, honestly, the beauty of GoLidz is you can put whatever you want in here. You can put whatever you want in here.
Right, exactly.
You don't have
Tacos,
to put
salad.
fries and hot dogs. You could put a salad.
So here's an interesting
You
thing.
could put sushi.
It's true.
We live in a
Anything. It doesn't
mobile
have to be
society.
this unhealthy view.
Is sometimes with entrepreneurs, Steve, that they're being 90% home on an entrepreneur idea is almost like being at zero.
Doesn't matter.
The difference between 99% and 100% in entrepreneurship.
It's 100%.
100%.
You wrote that in the book, brother.
That's correct. So the
Awesome.
question is, how do you get from 99 to 100?
So, when I, jumped on board, I said
the book.
there's
I can't believe you read the book.
probably 25 people in my world that should see this. You were number one, by the way. And you learn from the people you know. You could easily said, I don't see it, whatever, I'm out. You didn't say that. You see the innovation. You see the power of the passion of the entrepreneur. You asked an amazing question in our first phone dance. You asked her, is this the only thing you do? I loved it. I was jumping up for joy going,
Now he really knows it's
that's
the
the
only
perfect
thing I do.
question. Like, are you all in? Are you taking this to the
Exactly.
mat? Because if you're telling me, well, I have a full-time job and I'm doing this at night, it's
And you know how many people
Never.
come in here and go, well,
Yeah.
I got this, I'm bartending here, I'm scratching my ass there. I'm like, I don't have time for
So
that.
she's
Yeah.
bought in.
Yeah.
I'm going to meet her husband tonight, which is awesome. And I can't wait to shake this guy's hand because living with a committed, passionate entrepreneur is not easy.
Not easy at all.
My lady, lives with me. I'm committed. I'm passionate. I make mistakes. Mistakes teach you. They're part of the lesson. They're part of the journey.
Putting this down.
Right.
Putting this down. It's almost impossible, but it's one of the reasons I came up with this. I mean, think about what this did.
How many people said no to you?
I mean, the no's are just, there's a record amount. First of all, I lead the league of mistakes. Nobody's made more mistakes than me, but the objective is you want to at least be 51 and 49, you're still a winner.
Correct.
You win 51% of the time, you're still a winner. And if you're not losing a bunch, you're not really out there the way you should be. If you're have an unblemished record, I don't know, you may be walking on some beach I've never seen. But let me ask you a
Or
question.
you've not learned anything, really.
If
of
you're
any
not
value.
making mistakes,
Right, you haven't made a mistake.
But is that phone in your bedroom when you go to sleep?
It is next to my head. This is
Brandon, you got to work with her, man.
Wait, but hold on.
Give me this phone.
This is a.
Are you kidding?
But this is a truthful place to be, right?
Yes.
This is an open place to be.
This is where
truthful.
entrepreneurs come.
I cannot lie. This is. I mean, it's not
This must
on
be
my
really
head.
hot for your husband. It's like, wow, my wife's got her phone right near her.
Where do you think
this
his
is
phone
really
is?
Hot.
Well, where do you think his phone
Right.
is?
I
His
hope-
phone's on the other side of the
Yeah,
bed.
you guys need to take that phone and do not take your phone
know.
into your
Well,
bedroom.
I mean,
that's
listen,
a
when you
cardinal
check in a
mistake.
hotel, the first thing you look for is the outlets. It's
Well,
Is that not true?
Listen, there's nothing wrong with getting your phone charged, but when you go out on date night and your phone does not belong in your bedroom, if you need an alarm clock, as my friend Susan Sly has said, go to Walmart, get a $19.99, and that's your alarm clock. Do not bring that
You're
phone
right.
into your bedroom. And number two, do not take that phone home out with you on date night, because the one
you're
thing,
right.
the only reason you would go out and work your tail off is because you do it for your husband, you do it for your kids, and then the one night you got 3 hours to catch up and really find out what's really going on, you're checking your phone. 3 hours, leave your
Couldn't agree
phone
more.
home. It's the best advice, by the way, you get in the Living on Purpose book, by the way.
awesome book.
And it's true. And all this stuff, it's like, I've left my phone home on date night, changed my life, changed my relationship with my wife. And I can't believe people come to me and tell me that. It's a simple little thing.
Well, just the fact
But
that you have
honestly,
date
if this
night
phone
alone.
is
But I
in
will
your-
say-
if this phone is in your bedroom tonight, which I will call your husband and ask him,
And you know Siri is watching. So.
it is unacceptable.
But I
It's
will say-
insane.
But let me say this.
Now we're getting to the core of this
There we
conversation.
go.
When you're in build mode, when
No,
you're really
no,
wait,
no,
come
no,
on now.
no,
When you're in
no.
build mode, when you were building your business, I mean, look where you are now.
Let me tell you what. Let me tell
This
you
thing
build
was
mode.
not even as important,
Let me help you here.
right?
Bonnie, let me help you in build mode. The only thing that was building was the case that my wife had for divorce that I had in there when I was building and kept getting on my phone in the middle of the night. That was what was building. It's a huge mistake. Get your stuff done. Matter of fact, 2 hours before you go to sleep, you shouldn't even be on your phone or your computer either.
Oof.
Because your recovery and your sleep
Scientifically,
is
it
going to be
says the
marginal.
light keeps you up.
Yeah, it's no good.
true.
Since I stopped
Nudelberg,
emailing.
I see you online when I'm online
Yes.
at midnight.
Listen, I go online.
You're
every
not
now and
doing
then,
it.
But if you stop going online 2 hours before you go to sleep, you're not worried about how many hours you're sleeping. Your quality of sleep will increase. Think about your effectiveness, your efficiency, what's going to happen the next day when you got a good night's sleep. It's going to supersede the 2 or 3 thoughts you had in the emails you came up with.
It's 100% true. I mean,
This
it is.
phone needs to be removed 2 hours before you go to sleep. Put it in your office, in your pocket.
You guys, take this
Boom.
phone and
You did not realize
throw
the
it out the
amount of
window.
information.
Check it.
Bonnie, you didn't realize how much information you're going to get today, right? I mean, he has changed your life.
It's a killer,
He's
though.
full of information.
It's
The
a
fact,
killer. It's a
can
killer.
Can you execute and implement?
That's what Dana does.
What
That's
You
exactly
want
right.
to,
You know,
you want to
you gotta
execute,
do it.
but you have to have faith. That's the reason why I started the book off with faith, is because you have to have faith that you can do better, you can do more. You need the energy, you need the right mental mindset, you need the right food to do
all
it.
my
That's what
energy,
Dana's all
all my
about.
energy is right in here.
No, your energy is right in here and in here. And you
Joe.
need to get the right amount of sleep, the right amount of love, the right amount of connection with why you're doing this. When you start having some fun and
When it's
dialing
not about
down
the
a
money,
little,
correct.
it all you're going to see things differently.
Well, it definitely can't be about the money.
No.
Otherwise, you really
That's
wasted your
bullshit
time.
too,
I mean,
because let me tell you something. It is always
At
about the
some
money.
point.
I love the
Did you just
money.
call bullshit?
I love.
He just called bullshit.
It is bullshit because I love the money. Who doesn't love the money?
At
It's
some
always
point.
about the money.
There has
can't
to be
just-
there has to be a
It can't
payoff.
the end all.
It
The
can't
money
be the
doesn't
only
solve all.
motivator. Money
But
can't be the
it's
only
not
reason
about
you
the
do
money. I'm
something.
like, honestly, it's about the money. Right now, I take you in the warehouse. If I could sell you some shit, I will. I don't have a problem with that. I like the money.
Oh, by the way,
grab.
on the way out, they have your credit card. Where?
But I'm still going to sleep 2
I
hours.
lose
I'm
everything, so they
still
probably do.
because I'm catching you on all your stuff. Because at the end, your problem may not be here, really. And that's my gut feeling is you're going to go on vacation, and the guy next to you or the woman next to you is going to be the owner of some huge fast food chain or a hotel chain or own 10 stadiums. Or you're going to start getting some sleep in one of those nice, peaceful dreams that you're going to have because you're getting some good sleep.
Yeah.
You're going to think of something that you never
don't
even
have
thought
good
of.
sleep.
The best idea that you're going to come up with is one you haven't even thought of.
Which is
You have to have
empowering.
faith, though, to
That's
believe that,
empowering,
though.
man.
You're
That is-
so busy, you have no time to be busier. That's
That's
what
true.
sleeping with your phone in your room does, and not connecting with your spouse, and not giving yourself that room.
Plus, she sleeps with GoLidz also. So let's you know.
That's
No,
weird.
come on. It's next to the bed.
Is anybody in agreement with me out? I mean, are you in agreement? Weigh in on this. I mean, honestly, are you at home sleeping with your phone next to your bed? Are you really? And can you try one
I
week
bet
without that?
you.
It's probably
Can
I
you?
would
I'm
say
I'm going to go
80%
on
of the people
80
do
to
that.
90%
Higher, right?
have their
Right.
phone next
Right.
to their beds.
It's
Ridiculous.
Really, yeah.
But you can't disagree, and you can't, that when you're an entrepreneur, you are obsessed with what you're doing. You are.
There's no question.
I mean, I love
what your
I
product
do.
is, your
Right.
team, everyone
Yeah.
around you. It lands on you. You are responsible. at
So-
the end
so
of
it's
the
I
interesting.
never mentioned to get less obsessed, did I, in this conversation?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're clear
You just
about
told
that.
me to put the phone
He
down.
is pretty clear.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, one of the things I think
know.
has made me successful and most other successful people is my curiosity. I am insatiably curious about stuff. And now you have a conduit to all of this information. It's hard to turn it off. Because I just, social, has a piece of it, pure Wikipedia, YouTube, all the places you can go. You can really learn something every day that may not be related to your business. And that's sort of what the phone has done is it's so connected us that we're addicted. It's hard to just...
I just want to make sure that when we land in all the business that somebody like yourself could probably bring in, and that she's in a position where that landing pad is the foundation is solid enough to take it.
How great a guy is he for? I mean, who thinks like you?
I'm just thinking, like, I mean, imagine this
Very
business.
few. That's why
I
he's
mean,
sitting
imagine
where
this
he's sitting.
business all of a sudden explodes. I'm just wondering what kind of position you're going to be in, because you think you'd be any less busier when you all of a sudden your business quadruples.
No.
Then you really won't be able to take a vacation.
He brings
That's
a
true.
really
I
good
mean,
point.
then you really are. Then you really are.
So let's go on
in a quandary.
vacation now.
Yeah, hold on. Look right at the camera. Honey, call the travel agent.
Yeah.
We're going away.
No, what I need to say is, like, and my wife is the one who's been the real driving force behind, like, not asking me whether we're going on vacation.
We're
I mean,
going.
well, it's a question of how many, and that's when I've thought of some of my best ideas. Been on some museum that I cannot look at another piece of art in some country that I can't even understand the tour guide. So, you know, I'm kind of paying attention because,
Well, that
and then
really-
I'm thinking about some other stuff.
That is where you
too,
get
know?
your best ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, even just standing when we came up with this. I mean, we've iterated and iterated and iterated up to a level that is commercialized. But just you sit outside Starbucks,
Yeah.
Dunkin', you sit outside these places. You see people coming out. They're fumbling their food. They're falling over.
In the
and they
car?
all have this in
Oh.
their hand. I mean, it would drive you
Mothers,
nuts.
yeah,
But people get injured. They fall down. They knock over. They have kids with them.
Can I tell you one thing?
You know, that's where this came from.
Can I tell you one thing?
You can tell me two things.
I'm going to tell you one. First of all, congratulations. You
Thank
should be
you.
proud of yourself.
as you should. Yes.
Thank you.
And you're brave and courageous of what you put into this thing. A lot of people wouldn't have the guts and balls to do it. And it's a brilliant idea.
Thank
And
you very
That's
much.
really the most important thing.
That means so much to me.
So I think the other question is you know, how you're going to expedite it, what kind of shape you're going to be in to go play the long game in this thing. So when it does explode, you'll still be around to enjoy it. And still
Pearls
have
of wisdom.
the husband,
And healthy.
And the closet's not empty when you get home. Because, like, you know, so
No, we've been fortunate
Right.
to have some early successes,
Yeah.
but it's true. It's
It's a great idea.
It's long term. It's not really what's happening today. It's all the
I
relationships
can't
and
tell you how many
partners
times I've
that we're
gone
going
down.
to.
I've got, you know, I just can't remember how many times I've gone down an aisle, which I'm thinking at some point I'm going to
The
fall.
little steps.
Which all these people are going to see me stumble down those steps. And then then I'm going to die or break my leg with a freaking pretzel and a hot dog in my hand.
That's how she started the company.
that-
That
yeah.
was the basis of how she started the company.
How?
The basic gist is that and it was years and years ago, it was before the phone even existed, but I was at a theater in Arizona on a very bad date, not my husband now, thank God. And he gave me 2 popcorns and sodas and candies and everything, and I didn't really understand why I was carrying all this. I mean, he was not very chivalrous, but I carried it. We went in the theater. I thought maybe he had special seats. You know, I was a kid. And we got in and we sat in the middle of the row. You know, the worst seats in the house when you go to the theater. You want to be somewhat close to the aisle, so you have to get up, go back to the concession stand. You've got to go, you know, use the facilities, whatever. I tripped, I fell, I knocked everything over. I soaked 25 people. I can't repeat the things they
You
were
still
calling
tell the
me.
story a different way.
Hold on a second.
I mean-
hold on. The question is, can we repeat that? That's the video to sell this product.
Yeah.
How do you go get that video done? Exactly
He's
that.
right.
I mean, I love that story.
That's what an
the
infomercial
video.
does, right?
Like, you need to go to a movie theater with a couple. You know,
That's
a
what
couple
happened. That
girlfriends.
is exactly
Yeah,
what
I
happened.
love that.
And
It's
I
real.
went down.
It's
You know
real.
the sticky
Yeah.
floor at the theater? You know that sticky?
It took us we've been here 3 hours. We finally got something to bite into here that we can
We've
actually
had lunch
market.
together. We've been hanging out for hours, and I'm finally telling you where this came from. But it's not. It's where I thought of it. I didn't do anything about it until the phone came out, because up until 2000, no one had a phone. So this hand was still free. We weren't all just crippled with this phone. And then in 2005, 6, smartphone. Everyone had a smartphone, and now you're doing more business on the phone than you are from your laptop. And that's when I said, this is actually now creating a solution. We all know if you build a product and it doesn't solve a problem for anyone,
Right.
business and or the consumer, then you've wasted your time.
Think about how many people work out of their vehicle. That is their office now, and so if you're eating in your car, this is a clean, organized.
Right in the cup
it's,
holder.
I'm the ultimate eater in my car, but I
Me
admit
too.
it. I mean, I don't want to stop and waste a whole bunch of time.
That's exactly right.
I just want to eat and on the fly. I was the kid who would see me walking down the street. I ate lunch, breakfast, dinner while I was walking. Whatever. Like, why walk and do nothing? Go somewhere I could eat and walk at the same time. Kill
Awesome.
2 birds with one stone,
Right.
which is not a good thing.
That's true. And
but
if you think about
it-
how you eat in the car, it was
Yeah.
distracted driving.
yeah,
You're not allowed to talk on the phone in the car.
yep.
But you are allowed to take a meal and spread it out on your dashboard and put the drink in your lap. You think about how much they don't sell at the drive-through. Because people don't want to take it in, it's a mess.
So
they don't think about the people driving away. They only think about you at the window.
The interesting thing for
After you
me
leave,
is that I deal with a lot of early stage companies, and early stage companies deal with this all the time. They don't have full on adoption. There's nobody out there validating her idea.
No, don't say that.
Well, I mean, just
don't say that, Steve.
I didn't mean nobody, but in general, getting to people who can say no. You can't listen to their no. You got to plow through it. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
And so, in the beginning, how many people said no in your business? Constantly. The power and the discipline and the energy it takes to deal with that no and continue to get up every morning with that same, because she sees something that no one else saw. That's what entrepreneurs do. They see things differently.
How many people said no to Mark Zuckerberg?
Correct.
How many people said no to Steve Jobs?
Well, I think
how many people say no?
You look at three things. You look at understanding a market in a situation where you could add value and where you see the change going, even though no one else sees it.
Correct.
Can you take the risk that's involved, which is where most entrepreneurs fail, and then do you have the leadership to go take something in that goes against the grain that no one else sees that you see? Can you lead and take people with you, even though they don't see what you see, but you convince them to get on board? And if you can do those three things,
in my head.
There's your ultimate entrepreneur.
And you know what? In order to do all that,
Yeah.
that validates our friend Dana, because that's a big lift. You need energy.
I mean, I remember sitting with Dana talking about the fact that, he had these gyms at the time and, he's not loving that and he wanted to do something completely different. And he's like, I said, you got to do a book. Like, you need to go get some stuff going online. He's like, blog, this, that. I mean.
Now he's on Good Morning America.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, it was about a 2-year transition of constantly, get rid of those gyms. I know it's going to hurt. I know it's going to be painful. To get rid of something you put a lot into. And that's the hard part out there for any of you is, can you give up what you have in order to go get what you want?
So dead
and
on.
not live according to what you need, but live according to what your hopes and dreams are. Can you make the transition? Because if not, you're in the stripper box. You're basically stuck doing what is.
Now there's a visual for you, right?
Well, the stripper box is a blog I wrote, which we talked about.
I know, I love it.
saw that on your podcast.
And I see so
Great.
many people making a living based on what they need, not based on what their hopes and dreams are, because they're stuck to a certain lifestyle. Which, what does that really mean if you're not happy?
Yeah.
Bam.
Dead on.
And I'll tell you something. This is just a lid. I always say this to you. It's not really what we're selling. What we're selling is convenience. And that's taken over
That's
the
what I love
whole.
about this item. It's so
That's
simple.
taken over the whole world.
Think about
of
mothers that are carrying a baby that want to carry
stroller, the arm. I mean,
there's a lot of applications.
so
We're
simple.
excited.
You've done something to make their lives easier. They're never going to forget it.
By the way, Ben, 2 things. First of all, we got to go get the dragons involved here, Drew. We got to bring my dragons in. Number 1, we're gonna hopefully the dragons will allow us to use some of their songs, my intro and exit.
The
I'm making an
Imagine
announcement.
Dragons?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's my band. That's my group.
I love
Everyone
it.
knows that.
Love the Imagine
Anything we had to touch before we leave?
Lightning
Any questions
and the
for anybody else?
thunder.
Nothing major, just people shouting out where they're from. We got Texas today, Arizona, New York.
Thank you, Texas. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you for substantiating. I tell these guys that people from all over the world tune in, and they don't believe me. So if you're out there, please, I love weighing in, and I love sending you books. So every now and then, send me where you're from, your address, and I'm one of those guys who likes to send out gifts and stuff. So I love hearing from you. Please put down your address, put down where you're from, weigh in. Dana, thanks for joining us today. Steve, I'll give you the final words, and then I'll let Bonnie have the final closing because she's our real guest. You've been on the show before.
Yes. Final words. So one of the things I talk about in my book, and as I talked about here, was about words. If you stop asking people how they are and ask them to tell you something good, you make people feel good, you learn what's happening in their lives, and it's a completely different way to open up dialogue. People are programmed to be negative. Just say, hey, tell me something good.
I love that, man. That's good. Strong.
Yeah.
Bonnie, congratulations.
But you should sing it.
Tell me something good. I'm a Shaka Khan guy.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know something? That'll be our song of the day on tomorrow's blog.
That'll stay with
Yeah.
you, man.
Yeah.
I already told him to put it on his voice.
Once you do it, man, it'll stay with you. We'll be humming that all day.
I love that. We're going to go with that theme. We're going with that theme tomorrow. Tell me something good. Maybe that'll be the theme of our blog tomorrow. Tell me something
Even
good.
better.
If you're out there, we're tweeting this out right now. Tell me something good. And I'm gift carding all over the place for people give me good news. Give me something good.
Right.
Tell me something
what's
good.
happening good in your life?
Right.
Tweet it, Instagram, LinkedIn, send me a message,
Tell me
something
something
good,
good.
and you're going to be surprised at my reaction. I love to hear
There's
from
so
you.
much negative in the world. That's
We bring the positive.
That's the
And
best
if
way to
people
title it.
remember
Were you
you
unan-
for
well
that.
done. Were you unanimous about Mariano getting in a hole,
Yeah,
weren't we?
yeah, woo!
Were we all in agreement? You're damn right we were. Huh? No, nothing negative about that.
Bonnie, you
And,
gonna finish up?
and there's a little money grabbing on that too. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm happy about that too. Your final words?
My final words. Thrilled to be here with you. I'm thrilled to be here with you, and I'm thrilled that you gave me the opportunity to come on and talk about GoLidz. But I'm more happy that I just struck a brand new relationship.
Good
and
for
that's
you.
Really, at
Quality.
the end of the day, what matters.
That's exact. Well said.
My final word is, will you send me a video that basically says, I'm no longer letting this phone get in the bedroom. It doesn't get any votes. It has no bedroom rights. And I want to know where your next vacation is going to be.
No, we're going to send you.
It's Dr.
we're gonna
Brandon
send
now.
you a
He'll be
video-
on.
We're going to send him a video from the beach just to prove that we were there.
I never
Well,
heard of
believe
Dr.
us
Phil. I
otherwise.
only know Dr. Brandon.
Exactly.